we talk about innovation, we talk about automation, that kind of AI angle stuff coming into, I think it has become inevitable. It has become the default game rather than separate initiative altogether, I would say.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by World Development Corporation. I am Sunny Pancholi, uncovering some great achievements and contributions of unsung heroes inspiring others. Today, we have a perfect example of how technological skills combined with dedication not only give wonderful professional achievements but reap success in return. And the example is set by Mr. Chand Girdhar. He is currently serving at Nike India Technology Center Private Limited as its Director of Engineering and holds several other responsibilities there. Mr. Chand Girdhar, welcome, and I'm thrilled to have you on our show.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you.
So to begin with, Mr. Girdhar, out of several roles you have handled so far, one that grabs my attention is tech modernization. So could you let us know more about it, namely your achievements?
Sure. So thank you for highlighting this point. So tech modernization has been my kind of a core theme ever since I have been into the IT industry. So it's been around 20 years of my kind of tenure I spent within IT itself. And I've had several opportunities where I've been a part of such kind of space, tech modernization before. One of the key achievements I have been through in one of my previous organizations called Lowe Services Private Limited, where I've led the large scale transformations, kind of moving around or transforming the old legacy monolithic based applications to much more cloud native microservices based architecture, right? So this shift not only reduced the kind of reliance on the costly vendors or the vendor products, but also helped improve the scalability, performance, and the operational efficiency of their applications as well, right? And by leveraging, of course, the open source technologies like Apache Camel, Spring Boot, and DevOps automation, we were able to reduce the licensing cost also to a significant amount, right? And through the entire process, and again, we have been able to rewrite over around 600 plus applications / integrations without causing any business disruption overall, while making sure all the processes being streamlined, unlike the way they were in the past. Again, similarly, there were another kind of tech modernization where I was leading the entire supply chain space along with my different colleagues, and we have been able to modernize a lot of applications. We have been running off late in multiple legacy declining applications. So we have been able to successfully kind of modernize all of that, ensuring operational stability / business stability of the product / applications also. So I would say tech modernization, I think, kind of era that we are into right now, right? Wherein we talk about innovation, we talk about automation, then the kind of AI angle stuff coming into. I think it has become inevitable. It has become the default game rather than separate initiative altogether, I would say.
Amazing, Mr. Girdhar. And thank you for the excellent start to this interview. Your achievements are truly commendable, Mr. Girdhar. All right, so continuing our conversation, you have managed complex IT landscapes from conception to completion, which too is outstanding. So could you please let us know how you take care of such a mammoth responsibilities?
Yes, I've been kind of fortunate enough that I've been a part of those experiences wherein was able to lead those complex technology landscape though. But then I would say the approach that I kind of choose or kind of been a part of handling those large scale implementation was predominantly comes around few key principles that I would say we talk about, right? Number one being the kind of vision that we have while driving this entire execution plan, right? Though I would say the strategic vision and of course the alignment. So once we know the business objective where we are heading to, right, what we're going to achieve out of that objective, plus aligning your leadership / stakeholders around the given objective, I think that's the key part of it, right? Whether you're going to achieve modernization or you're going to achieve integration or any kind of intra transformations, all of this I think depends upon the kind of mission / the kind of stakeholder alignment. That's the first key thing that I would think of. Second one being, of course, one that's aligned, you need to think of how you can plan overall scheme of things along with the road mapping, how and when you're going to do it, right? While breaking down your entire scheme of things into multiple small, minimal viable kind of product and kind of executing it one after the other. At the same time, making sure you are staying close to the overall execution, handling your risks and kind of dependencies properly, right? The third one being how we need to build and lead those cross-functional teams, because when we develop any kind of application or we are dealing with any kind of such situations, I think the crucial factor would be is managing the complex, diverse teams across geographies, across countries that we are in. I believe fostering a collaborative culture where innovation is encouraged is important. So I've established a global cross-functional teams capable of handling various capabilities and responsibilities, right from your design, development, testing, and of course, the production as well. For both of the areas, either you can talk about DevOps as well as platform engineering. Then next one being, of course, once it is in place, then you have the core of the entire game is your technology leadership and how innovative you can be, making sure you derive efficiencies out of the entire scope, right? Then here it comes the technology leadership and of the innovation. So staying at the forefront of the technology, I think that is the crucial stuff. And I ensure our solutions are scalable, secure, and future-proof by integrating different advanced technologies and embracing that, of course, the cloud-native architectures. I've led transformations involving event-driven integrations, cloud platform, including both AWS and GCPs, and DevOps automations, in ensuring our IT infrastructure is resilient as far as and remains operational throughout. Last but not the least is become the risk management and how operationally efficient and active you are. So once that is all done, you have to make sure you stay closer to the game, you stay closer to your solutions or the landscape, making sure you do everything to ensure your risks are properly addressed, mitigated, managed, right? And if at all you get into any kind of surprises, you make sure you have all the plans to make sure your business stability remains not compromised at all.
Sounds incredible, Mr. Girdhar. And I can only imagine the complexities of responsibilities you have handled so far. Great, great, great. Also, you have always been upskilling yourself with technologies. Understandably, you have had to undertake roles demanding a wide skill set. However, I'm curious as to what gives you the boost of enthusiasm for this.
I mean, thank you for your kind words, but I think that the core, the motive factor I would say from my side is because the kind of landscape or the kind of industry that we are in, right? The IT industry and the way the entire technological landscape is changing, I think it becomes even more important and worthwhile for us to keep updating ourselves, for us to stay closer to the game, right? So I believe, so to your point, what keeps me motivated is the sheer pace at which this technology is kind of transforming industries and endless possibilities which it kind of opens up for all of us, right? So talking about the kind of core theme around, of course, number one, definitely the passion, the kind of interest that I have, and definitely across the desire for continuous improvement and continuous learn and continue to upskill myself, right? And of course, the based on kind of experience that I have been through, there has always been a thrill, kind of being a part of those complex situations, I would say, the way I kind of experienced myself. I think managing and modernizing large IT landscape, which can be challenging, but it's exactly that complexity that excites me, right? Every complex problem is an opportunity, and that's what it gives you to something to learn, something to do, something more, something to make sure you break down the entire complex problem into small, achievable steps, which is definitely a satisfying kind of experience. And importantly, the next one being how impact it would make overall to the business and the team, right? So unless, of course, one is continuous improvement and continuous learning is one thing, but then as long as it makes an impact to the overall business and the business objective that we are being a part of, I think it makes the entire experience even more worthwhile. So I also get a great deal of fulfillment, seeing the tangible amount of technology modernization, where whether it is enabling a business to scale, improving operational stability, or fostering a culture of innovation within my teams, the results are incredibly rewarding. Knowing that my efforts continue to grow and the success of business keeps me motivated. Lastly, because I think while we speak about technology, we speak about business, I think is the people whom we work with on a day-to-day basis, right? I think that's another factor which kind of helps me going motivated, because you end of the day, you help stay with your teams and do something to inspire people around you as well. So I think that's how I think these are the few, I would say, the points which kind of help me going and stay motivated around all of these challenges. So I think my entire profile and the way we kind of experience though is revolving around the same thing. So that's how I could say keep me going.
rightly said, Mr. Girdhar. And it feels really great to gain such insights. Great. Okay, my next question is a little tricky one, but let me ask you. Your massive accomplishments come with 2 decades of experience. But if you had certain technology earlier, then could you have had an even more successful career?
Uh, I appreciate your kind words, but then, yes, to your point, if I have to recall and the way I started over with, I would say, for example, to name a few, cloud computing and microservices, right? I remember my old days where we used to work on those data centers, vendor-specific technologies, and there was huge bottlenecks in terms of how we scale up, how we used to scale up our kind of product sell applications, right? So I believe if these kind of uh, approaches slash frameworks would have been there in the past, things would have been a little different. Namely, for example, it could be cloud computing and microservices, right? We used to work on monolithic slash data centers driven application, which used to work in silos. There was no kind of automated DevOps kind of system in between. AML never used to be there at that time. Now the things are coming up as AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning. These were not there before, right? Another point could be agile and those collaboration tools. Now, thanks to COVID, because all of that virtual, we have been started living in this, virtual world. We have been making use of those collaborative tools. Those kind of examples, which kind of makes me think that if those things were been there, things would have been very different than they are today. So to your point, in a nutshell, I would say the cloud computing and microservices, the first wing, because those were something which has kind of revolutionized the entire IT industry now. Second one being the DevOps and the extent of DevOps and the way we use the automated DevOps today, it was never there before, right? Third one being the open source. We have been always living into a world of vendor-based product or the vendor lock-ins. I think we have seen now how open source tech stacks, their technologies are rewarding us each every day. I would have third point being the open source. Definitely the fourth one being, as I said, agile. Gone are those days when we used to have, the traditional waterfall way of doing things. Now things have come called agile, and we have been seeing of late working on different agile slash collaborative tools. It could be Jira, Rally, RCZ, and whatnot. So those things have come into picture for us to, think through and be agile and be flexible as we move on.
Absolutely, Mr. Girdhar, and thanks for the invaluable piece of information. And I'm sure that our viewers are deciding their professional journey in the tech domain with your inputs. Great. So moving ahead, Mr. Girdhar, you are exploring boardroom as your next career phase. There are quite a few things from your abilities to your experience that are suitable for the new role. Still, I would like to know why exactly you decided on this move.
Sure. Thank you. So yeah, because I think based on my experience that I have led so far, I would say I've been kind of part of my leadership group and have been part of those initial strategic decisions and kind of road mapping as well. So I believe there is a time now where I can extend and leverage my skills even further for the broader industrial impact, I would say. So to your point, if I say why I am kind of seeing myself contributing to the boardroom kind of a thing, number one being the strategic influence, right? Throughout my career, as I said, I've been a part of those kind of key groups wherein I have led major transformations, working with my leadership, planning and dividing the entire scheme of things. I would say I want to leverage and build upon my initial 2 decades of IT experience to the entire scheme of things and making sure how best I can contribute even further, then sharpen my skills even further and contribute to the society as a large. Right? That's number one. Second one being the impact per se. So in my past roles, I have driven, as I said, huge transformation slash simplification programs as well. But stepping into boardroom provides more of a platform to have an even broader impact. I will have the ability to kind of continue building or continue making those decision building processes, right from governance to risk management, stakeholder management, and on our overall corporate strategy as well. Right? Third one being the leadership at scale. While I've been performing in my company, in my organization, where I have been in the last 20 years of my journey, but then I think this is another opportunity for me to leverage my experience on the leadership front and kind of refine it further as we get into a new scope of world as well. So third point being the leadership at scale now, right? Then next would say the technology part of it. So since I have been, if you see my last 2 decades of experience. I have 10 years working on a financial side of house. My recent 8 years has been into more predominantly the retail side of things. So I think I have built a good experience and a view towards the domain side of houses as well. So I think this will give me an opportunity to use my techno-functional experience to leverage those things and kind of enable my board to utilize all of this for their own betterment and for their own kind of growth further. So one is technology-driven kind of goals, right? And lastly, but not the least, I think, as I said, you have been with technology so long, you have working on multiple tech stacks, you have seen your different organizations and of course different leadership. Everything changes. The one thing we in common is the people around you, right? And that's what a leader is all about, right? So leadership is a skill set, but at the same time, you can use your experience for mentoring and inspiring the people around you as well. And that's what makes the entire kind of culture the way you want to live in. So there's the last point and a few themes that I can involve from both the perspective.
Absolutely, Mr. Girdhar. And I really appreciate how strategic all your career moves have been so far. All right, so finally, on to the last question of the session. Directors Institute is your mediator for scaling yourself for this next position. So what is that one thing that you like the most about us?
Based on my kind of experience, the way I've seen is, the kind of approach that we have kind of chosen to kind of train and kind of educate the people like us who have a passion and zeal to be a part of this kind of entire boardroom culture, right? The kind of focus that we have, in the kind of support, and personally, the way I have got it so far in my last few months of kind of association with Directors Institute, right? It could be your training sessions, it could be the kind of weekends, morning mentoring session that I had. I think it's been very systematic, structured, and organized, which could pave the path for any new joiners or any learners who want to be part of this kind of the scheme of things. It's very kind of motivating at the same time, and it gives you a structured, to the point, precise kind of pathway to go ahead. So it's been very, I would say personally, my personal experience, it's very meaningful and kind of very enthusiastic as well.
Okay. Mr. Girdhar, your accomplishments are numerous, and certainly after listening to the interaction, many of our viewers have felt inspired. All right. So thank you for joining in, and we wish you all the very best. And thank you for sharing your precious time and insights with us today. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Good day.
Thank you.